30 Days by It's_Kingston on AO3. Episode 10, Chapter 6, First Hangout Frights. Amity woke up to the sound of Luce's alarm clock and opened her eyes to see Luce turning it off. "Don't forget, after class today, meet up here." Luce grinned as she spoke, before heading out the door. "Bye, Blight-y." Is she really ready for class or basketball this early? Did she even sleep last night? Amity got out of bed and groggily put on her uniform before opening the blinds. She liked the warm glow of the morning sun, as it wasn't overly bright. Amity smiled to herself, suddenly feeling like it would be a good day as she watched the sun rise above the distant treetops. Amity grabbed her phone and backpack and walked out, deciding it would look good on her reputation if she was present and ready for class early. Realizing she had much more time than anticipated, Amity stopped at the cafeteria, deciding coffee would probably make her already good morning better. "Oh, hey." Somebody called from behind her. Amity turned around, expecting Luce to be standing there, that stupid grin on her face as she probably spoke about something irrelevant. "Good morning," Amity replied, almost startled by the disappointment in her tone. "You okay?" Gus asked, his smile disappearing briefly. "Yeah, it's just early in the morning," Amity responded, giving a small smile. Gus laughed before shaking his head in agreement. "It really is. I forgot you said you went here, and we never got to talk for long at the library. What classes do you have?" "Law and business. You?" Before Gus could answer, somebody shouted something to him, causing him to spin around. "Come on, Gus, we're gonna be late." "Oh, no, I've gotta go. Bye, Amity," he called over his shoulder as he ran away. Amity laughed as she sipped her coffee and watched the small group scamper to the door. Taking the last sip, she started walking to class. Unlike Gus, she wasn't late. In fact, she managed to quickly get to her first class, Law 1, early. "Hello," the teacher murmured to the few students who were walking in. Amity took her seat in front row and got out her textbooks for class, laying it neatly on her desk as she waited. The teacher started the class at exactly 7:30, and Amity realized that, unlike every previous school she's attended, this one didn't have bells to signal the start and end of classes. "I'm gonna be late at least one of these, aren't I?" "Okay, class, get your notebooks and textbooks. You'll be reading the first chapter and answering these questions." The teacher gestured to the questions written on the board, before continuing. "Turn the papers in by the end of the class to be graded. If you finish early, you could leave." Amity began reading the chapter, but was surprised to find she knew almost all of the material. Finishing the questions quickly, Amity decided to spend the rest of class reading the following chapters in preparations for the next class. The teacher dismissed the class at 9:30, and Amity handed in her paper on the way out. After collecting her stuff off at her desk, Amity made her way to the second daily class, Law Practice 1. Amity greeted the teacher and asked about the strange positions of the tests. They had been shaped around the room, causing the class to look like a makeshift courtroom. "Oh, I see. Practice Law 1. We're having a mock trial." Despite her normal confidence, Amity was nervous for the upcoming class. It was a practice trial, sure, but she knew if she messed up, it was almost an assured game over. Who would take anyone who failed a mock trial seriously in a real one? "Now that everyone's here, I'm sure you all guess what we'll be doing most classes." The teacher stopped, taking a moment to look around. "No? No one knows?" Amity raised her hand, previously unsure that was supposed to be a question. "A mock trial?" "Correct. Glad at least someone knows," the teacher said sarcastically, getting a small laugh from the students, probably a pity laugh. "So, class, you'll pull names from the hat. Since there are 30 people here, we'll have 10 people per trial. One prosecutor, one defendant, a client for both of them, and the judge. The other 5 will act as witnesses, and the remaining 12 will get the jury." The class began speaking, people discussing what they wanted or what they didn't want to get. Amity remained silent, hoping she'll be left out of the chaos around her. Luckily, the teacher quieted the class down before coming around with a hat. Amity was the third student to pull a slip of paper from the hat. She looked down at the unfolded slip in her hand, inwardly grinning at the word prosecutor on hers. Okay, who's the prosecutor? Amity raised her hand and was given a packet of paper. This was supposed to be the case file, and she was told to read it thoroughly before they started the trial. Everyone else was called up and given a packet too, along with a place to sit. Finally, everyone was settled in and ready to begin the trial. The judge, a boy who previously sat beside Amity, spoke. Defendant, please present your case. My client here has been accused of homicide due to an unrelated death of John Smith. The girl continued on as Amity listened closely and remembered the small details she read as everyone got ready. Prosecutor, how do you respond? Well, your client was seen by several at the scene, despite it being stated that it isn't a normal routine to work. Is there a reason why he was different from his normal path on the same day the death occurred? Amity asked, shifting to the papers as she spoke. She didn't need to look at the papers. She just felt cooler doing it. Your Honor, may I call the defendant's client, Henry Johnson, to the stand? Granted. Henry nervously sat behind the table, of course. He wasn't actually being trialed for murder, but Amity was glaring at him like he was. Amity walked over and began speaking. Henry, why were you walking past Oak Street on Monday morning, despite your work being on the 2nd Avenue, which is in the opposite direction? I wanted to visit a friend on my way, so I could pay him back for loaning me some money. Henry responded, rubbing the back of his neck, nervously. What was his friend's name? Why did he loan you money for, and how much did he give you? Amity asked, putting her hands on the desk. He looked towards the defendant, who just sighed and nodded. John Smith. He loaned me rent money. It was $800. Henry said, looking down. Amity backed up and took her seat, having made her point. Your Honor, I think it's clear what happened. Henry Johnson was given $800 by John Smith. Henry couldn't pay it back, and John demanded he return the money. Henry was stressed out about making ends meet and was pushed to murder his friend. How do you plead? The judge asked Henry, who sat behind the stand. His defendant just sighed and put her head down, knowing Henry was about to spill. Guilty? Henry mumbled, and the judge agreed quickly. Henry Johnson is found guilty of homicide by this court and will be given the death penalty, the judge declared, striking the gravel onto the sound block. What? The guy acting as Henry broke character, causing the class to laugh. Calm down, Josh. You aren't actually being put to death, the teacher said, clearing the students out of the makeshift court. Everyone who participated in that trial, except the jury and witness, can leave. Oh, wait. Amity, could you stay too? Yes. Amity stopped beside her desk, confused. You did good, but next time you should call others to the stand. Sometimes, or really most times, other people can help you, especially in the court. You have to listen to all sides before making your judgment. The teacher explained before dismissing Amity. I'm sure to do that next time, Amity said stiffly before walking away. I think I did fine on my own. In fact, I think I did great by myself. Upon realizing it was only 10, and her class didn't start till 11:30, Amity debated exploring the campus a bit. She already knew where everything was. Her classes, the dorms, the library, cafeteria, you name it. But she hadn't taken the time to figure out what else the incredibly large building housed. Stopping beside an old and probably unusual vision of a school map, Amity looked around for somewhere she wanted to go. Seeing the word gymnasium and court faded on the paper, she was reminded that loose was a hex side for basketball. It's 10:15. I could watch her play for a few minutes. Deciding that she was only going to explore the school, Amity set off towards the basketball court. She nervously stepped through the doors. She wasn't sure why she was nervous about it, but the loud squeaking of shoes and the beaming lights didn't help. Can I help you, kiddo? You lost or something? A woman asked from beside the door. What? No, I'm fine, Amity said hesitantly. The stuck-up kids don't play here. They play on the court. Check your attitude. The woman, who Amity assumed was the coach, said. "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Amity stopped, her attention drawn to the people running back and forth across the court. "Oh, you're here to watch, aren't you? Shouldn't you be in class, kid?" The coach asked, getting Amity's attention. "Yeah, but I got early since I finished the assignment at 10. Amity responded, secretly scanning the people running for Luz. Apparently she wasn't doing it too secretly. "What are you looking for?" the coach asked, tapping on her clipboard. "No one," Amity quickly said back, getting a glare from the coach. "Luz. She's not playing right now. Twisted her ankle earlier." The coach filled Amity in what happened, recalling how Luz wasn't entirely focused this morning and crashed into another student. Luckily, neither of them were seriously hurt. The only injury was Luz's twisted ankle. "Is she gonna be okay?" Amity asked, nervously fiddling with her hem of their skirt. Before the coach could answer, somebody walked up behind Amity and rested her arm on her shoulder. "I'm fine, chill out," Luz said, grinning. "And look, coach, my biggest fan came to watch me play. I've been sitting down for an hour, and I even iced it," Luz said, hopping from foot to prove her point. "Fine, kid, but if you get hurt big time because of this and can't play on Tuesday, I'll never forgive you." "Sweet. Don't worry, Miss Clawthorne. Oh, and Blight-y, you can sit on the benches if you don't want to listen to the coach constant nagging," Luz said before speeding off. The coach rolled her eyes and pointed Amity in the direction of the bleachers. Amity watched as Luz ran back onto the court, getting high fives and pats on the back from her teammates. Of the 4 on Luz's team, not including Luz, Amity only recognized one, the girl with pink hair who was sitting at Luz's table. Amity couldn't quite remember her name. Maybe Boscha? Yeah, that sounded right. As the game started, Amity couldn't help but watch Luz. She moved so fluidly, her normal smiling face replaced by a serious one as she dodged between people. Time passed quickly, and Amity made a habit of checking her watch frequently so she didn't miss her next class. As she glanced up, she saw Luz running forward and shooting just as the buzzer went off. The ball swished into the net, and Luz's team cheered. They all went their separate ways to get water and cool off for a minute, and Luz walked over to Amity. "Aw, Amity going to watch Luz play basketball. Isn't that so sweet? Oh my god, it's gonna be in my honorary mentions. Sorry, I just realized. It's November and it's getting close. Oh, I need to do all that for December. I need to do that all for October. Okay, sorry, I'm just thinking about all the goddamn data I'm gonna have to do. I do an AO3 wrap. And this year, there's going to be 2 new fandoms, because last year, all I read was My Hero Academia, and this year, there's 2 new fandoms that I'm probably going to introduce. Do I even have a section for fandoms? Most read, I don't normally. There should be a section in my thingy where it's like most read fandom, like top 10 fandoms or top 5 fandoms. It should honestly be top 3 because I don't read that much, but I don't think I do. No, I don't. I might be adding it this year. Honorary mentions, yeah, because I have word count, number of works, number of podfics, how many bookmarks I did this year, how many rereads, and then the top 5 ships, right? And then I have the top ships of the month. So this one varies from, so you might see a ship here that isn't in the top 5. Almost not. I read basically the same ships over and over, so. And then you see it throughout the year and how they change and shit. And then you have the top 10 tags of the year, which, for a second, there was a certain tag up there that I didn't want to be up there by the time that, I still don't want it. Is it up there still? Fuck, I need to check. Where is it? We're gonna get a sneak peek. I'm opening up my, what's it called, where I keep all the information on that shit. Yeah, wrap of AO3, 2024. Tags, open up tags. Okay, number 3 is okay, number 4 is okay, number 5 is okay, number 6 okay, number 7 is, really, that's 8, number 9, you fucker, you need to go lower. Number 10, why is this one here? Have I really read that many? Jesus, I didn't know. Okay, well, that explains a lot, actually. But number 9, I need you to go lower, please and thank you. Number 9, I need you to go lower. Number 9, I need to stop reading. Number 9. But it's so fucking good sometimes, okay? Yeah, I'm glorifying it. Okay, moving on. My actual notes on this. I think this was a cute chapter so far. This was a really cute chapter. I did read your little area where you were like, hey, I don't have that much knowledge with... I will say, I'm pretty sure it's not the judge that declares who is... Well, I mean, it depends on where the jurisdiction is and what laws you're following and from where, right? What was he declared with? Hold up, I need to read. Where was it? It was up here. Let's see. Prosecutor, guilty. Henry Johnson is found guilty of homicide by this courtroom. Homicide? Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, in that case, you would have to... Because from my understanding, there's only first-degree murder, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, manslaughter, involuntary, and voluntary. Those are the only ones. I do remember that one. I did not study any of this. This is all stuff that I knew from, like, you know, watching court cases and stuff like that. And that was a while back when I had a really, really big obsession with true crime. But, as I said, it changes depending on where you are. Like, I know in America, it's one way. I know in Korea, it's a different way. I know this one specifically because it was just one K-drama that I absolutely fucking loved. And I might rewatch it soon. But, over there, the judge, dictates whether you're guilty or not. And then tells, gives you your punishment. Well, here in America, it's the jury who tells you whether you're guilty or not. And then, depending on if you're guilty or not, is what the judge will punish you with, if you are found guilty by the jury. But normally, it's the jury who finds you guilty or not. Which is why it is very important to have a diverse jury here in America. I'm not saying that that always happens. There's cases that I've seen in true crime where there was definitely foul play by people who were placed in the jury. I think there was one murder where, like, this dude murdered someone, and it was a girl, right? And all the jury were either mothers, girls, or fathers of a girl. It was literally, it was brutal. And it was all linked. I was like, dude, that is the worst jury. That is the worst jury. And because of that jury, that man got set free. Not because they pleaded that he was not guilty. They pleaded he was guilty because he was guilty, right? I'm not saying he wasn't guilty and that he did not deserve to be sentenced as guilty. He deserved that shit. But because somebody did foul play with the jury, his case was dismissed. Because there was foul play. And because of that, he got set free on a crime he committed. And yeah, anyways. It's all tricky and it all changes and there's difference. Like, I know for a fact that in family court or in for example suings or civil I think it's called civilian court or whatever, and not criminal court, there isn't necessarily a jury and it's all the judge, right? It's all the judge's jurisdiction on, you know, whether you're guilty or not, would you have to pay, shit like that. And it gets different depending on the case and stuff like that. But overall, in a murder case, which would be a criminal court, there is a jury. I know that for a fact, that there is a jury in a criminal court. But that's here in America, and I do not know where this is based. So, yeah. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Oh, by the way, the guy that murdered, he murdered a kid. That's why it was important that it was mothers, women, and fathers, right? I think there was only one who wasn't any of that, and it was just an old man. That shit was funny, but it wasn't funny because obviously a kid got killed, and because of the jury, everything. But I mean, it was funny seeing, you know, a bunch of young people with like the old man in the corner. But again, anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.